Welcome to the greatest Red Dead Redemption 2 review on the internet. The only review that matters, the only review you need to watch, the only real review. All those other Red Dead Redemption 2 reviews are complete lies. They're paid reviews from a bunch of frauds that know nothing about gaming. But with me being the king of gaming, you know my review is going to be the best. The only honest review. The only review that is going to keep it real, tell it like it is, and deliver pure 100% facts in every single sentence. There's a reason why I have been doing this for years, providing absolutely amazing content that cannot be matched or replicated. So with that being said, I wasn't going to bother making another video talking about this garbage game because I already made plenty of videos exposing this garbage for what it truly is, a boring, repetitive waste of time that only idiots will enjoy. And I made amazing points in those videos, delivered the facts as I always do. But honestly, after forcing myself to complete Red Dead Redemption 2, I was like, if I don't make a video giving my final thoughts on the game, it's kind of going to be like, why in the hell did I bother beating it then? So I have to make one more video exposing this trash, but this will be my last video on the game because it doesn't deserve any more thought from me. This game is very, very beneath me. But yeah, this game was just a total chore to get through. Easily one of the worst games I have ever played. You don't know how hard it was for me to get through it. I mean, every time I played it, it felt like I was slowly dying inside, like the life force was being sucked right out of me. I mean, I know these idiotic Rockstar dick-riding fanboys think Red Dead Redemption 2 is a masterpiece, and Rockstar is the best, and they can't do any wrong. It's just perfect. Everything's perfect about the game. You know, the dick-riding is just at an all-time high. But anyone who isn't a sheep, anyone who isn't a Rockstar fanboy, anyone who is all there mentally, because I feel like anybody that likes this game is not really all there in the head, anyone who is just normal knows this game completely sucks. But with that being said, let's get right into this review. So let's start with how bad of a prequel this game truly is. This is why I've said many times now that prequels are trash. I knew this game would suck because it was a prequel. Prequels never work unless you're planning the prequel right around the same time that you're planning the game that's going to come before it. So if they were planning this at the same time that they were planning Red Dead Redemption 1, which obviously they weren't, then it would have worked. But it doesn't because it's coming years upon years after the fact, and there's just so much stuff that is pulled right out of thin air that makes exactly no sense. They just pull all types of shit out of their asses, and it doesn't connect well at all. Rockstar had no idea what they were doing here. Characters come out of nowhere that were never mentioned in Red Dead Redemption 1. It's such an ass pull. The main character, Arthur Morgan, I mean, come on. He was never mentioned in the first game, which doesn't make any sense considering how big of a role he played and what he did for John. I mean, if you see the end of the game and the relationship that he had with John, they were pretty much brothers, and they were there together at the end of the game. So for him to not be mentioned in the first game doesn't make any goddamn sense. So you know Rockstar pulled him out of thin air. Sadie, nope, never mentioned. Charles, nope, never mentioned. And they did so much for John, helping him while he was building that homestead that he was doing. So again, it's a joke. They knew that they didn't have to make it make sense. They could just pull anything out of thin air and their idiotic fans would eat it all up. But somebody that's actually expecting things to be connected well, do not look for it to be connected well in this game because it's simply not at all. One of the worst prequels I have ever seen in my life. They pull so much stuff out of thin air, and it's just, this game was tailor-made for idiots. Now, moving on, prequel aside, moving on to the story in this game. The story in this game is very cliche. Very, very cliche. It's a story that we've seen 1,000 times already. A band of thieves, you know, that are very close. They rob until one robbery goes horribly wrong, and they are hunted and sprinkle some greed and betrayal in there. And there you go. There's a story. I mean, you got these characters that are insanely bad written. They're badly written. First of all the characters are badly written or poorly written, and there's no depth to any of the characters. First of all. They're very cliche in the way that they act. You have the main character, Arthur Morgan, which is a cardboard cutout of every other Caucasian male in video games. You know, just a boring character. And then you have the main, you know, kind of antagonist, I guess you would say, that turns out being like Dutch, and Dutch is just a typical, oh, I want more, I'm gonna let greed, you know, I'm idealistic and I want greed, or I want money, and I'm willing to, you know, trade everything else besides, you know, for that to get money. And it's all the characters, Micah, just every single character in the game is bad. They are poorly written characters. They're shallow. And the ending for the game is completely and utterly unsatisfying. The character that we've been playing as the whole game, Arthur Morgan, gets killed, and then we get some random time skip where he just gets casually mentioned at the end of it, like, oh yeah, you know, I went back up there, you know, where he died, and I buried him. Oh, okay. This character we've been playing as the whole game, that's all we get. Oh yeah, I went back and I buried him, so that's cool. That's all we get. The conclusion to Arthur Morgan's story was horrible. And then moving on, my gosh, we get this boring ass epilogue. The epilogue, I felt like blowing my goddamn brains out. It was the most tedious and boring shit I have ever experienced. You play as John Marston, and you're a farmer now. You literally go around picking up shit. Yes, you pick up actual shit in the game. You go around building fences, houses, doing a bunch of the most sleep-inducing goddamn tasks ever put into a game. I mean, what the hell were they thinking with this? Did we really need to do all this boring ass shit? They only put this in the game to make it seem longer, padding at its finest. This whole section adding absolutely nothing to the story, except at the end where you get revenge and kill Micah. Couldn't we have just skipped to that part instead? Just like they did in the first game, where when John Marston died, it skipped to Jack, and then Jack just got revenge, and that was it. Couldn't we have done that? Why did I need to become a farmer? This game is nothing but a farm simulator. I don't want to build houses and pick up cow shit. I don't care. And the fact of the matter, this added nothing to the game. Oh, but come on, yeah. They needed to show you how he becomes like a rancher, man. I don't need to see that goddamn shit. I'm here to play a goddamn game involving the Cowboys, not a fucking farmer. I don't want to be a farmer. I don't care. They should have just skipped this whole part. Not the Skinner thing that was going on, the Skinner gang or whatever. That was horrible. The Sadie missions were horrible. I didn't care. They should have just skipped and added that to the game. And then not only that, the characters. Charles, for example, like I was saying, was another character that basically played a big part in the game because he's helping you build your house and everything. He's getting revenge with you. Sadie, big character in the game, is helping you get revenge, come into your house or whatever, never get mentioned. You get no closure for any of these characters. What happened to them? Where did they go? They're casually mentioned, like Charles says he wants to go make a family somewhere, but that's never touched upon. Sadie says she wants to go somewhere, but it's just... the conclusion to these characters is just the worst that I've ever seen, especially Arthur Morgan. That was the worst because it's just like, you spend so much time playing as this trash character, and that's what they give you at the end. So this story was a complete waste of time. Had some of the most boring and tedious goddamn missions I've ever seen. Go here, ride your horse there for 5 minutes until you feel like falling asleep. Pull your wagon over here until you feel like falling asleep. All the missions were trash. The only decent missions in this game were the ones where you were actually doing what the goddamn game was supposed to be marketed around, and actually robbing things. When you were actually on the missions robbing things, I was like, okay, maybe this game wouldn't be so bad. But then for one good robbery mission or whatever you get 20 more of the most boring and tedious goddamn missions in the game. I mean, the opening section to the story is some of the most sleep-inducing shit ever. You're riding in the snow over and over again. It is just horrible. Not to mention the camp. The camp where you go to that you get your missions and everything. Every time, this game is so obsessed with making you walk slow. Every time you're walking in the camp, you're walking slow as hell, and it's trash. The missions were a joke. Like I said, there were probably only about maybe 3 or 4 missions that were playable in this game. The rest of the missions were just unplayable. I was like, can't this shit be over already? I was begging for it to be over. Horrible story. Nothing. You're not going to get anything from this story unless you're an idiot that likes bad stories. That's the only way you're going to find enjoyment out of this story. Because if you're a deep and high-level thinker like I am, and you're expecting some nice, well-written story, well-written characters, you're not going to get it here. Go play something else. It's just pathetic. Storyline was boring, and the epilogue was even worse. Moving on to the gameplay. It's by far some of the most boring gameplay I've ever experienced. Like I said previously, it's just a ride your horse for 5 minutes simulator here, pull your wagon there. The controls are trash. The movement is very clunky and sluggish. It feels terrible. The shooting feels very sloppy. The game is always forcing you to walk slow, as I said. The first Red Dead Redemption game had way better controls. I do not, and see, the problem is, this game is a GTA 5 reskin, and this is why the controls are so bad, because the controls in GTA 5 were horrible. They were clunky as well. They were bad. They were horrible controls. And all this game is GTA 5 reskin in the Wild West, so that's why the controls are so bad. Good thing about Red Dead Redemption 1, it wasn't going off of the GTA 5 engine at the time that had been coming later in the years. But yes, oh man, the controls are just so bad. It's just a chore to play. The shooting is all over the place. It feels very unrewarding. Oh gosh, I mean, the bounty system is simply broken in this game. You bump into someone on accident, now you have the law shooting at you, and you have a bounty. Someone tries to fight you and you defend yourself, now you have another bounty. You pay your bounty, and then you get another bounty. You put a mask on, you're still recognized, and you get another bounty. The bounty system is just so annoying in this game. It's a joke. This game also tries way too hard to be realistic, and it makes the game feel not fun. They need to stop trying to make these games super realistic and focus on just making it fun. This game wants you to take baths. It wants you to shave. It wants you to do this. It wants you to eat. It wants you to sleep. I want to play a video game, not a real life simulator. And some of you nerds, oh, but come on, it's so cool that it's realistic. No, if you want to go play real life, just go fucking play, go to real life. You're in real life. You want to shave and shit? Go to the goddamn bathroom and shave. You want to go eat? Go eat right now. Why do you need to do that in the game? Why? I mean, come on. I get to look at horse testicles. Come on. The horse testicles shrink, man. That's so cool. Like, you people are pathetic. You people are pathetic. I don't want to eat, sleep, drink, and have to worry about all this boring, mundane trash in the game. I just want to play the game and have fun. And with these horrible controls, with these bad missions, there's no fun to be had. All the side activities are boring. This game barely has any decent side activities. Once you, and here's the worst part too, you can't play as Arthur Morgan anymore because, again, he dies. So you have to play as John. And it's so boring playing as John. We already played as John in the first game. Why do we need to play as him again in the second one? It's like, if that's the case, they might as well just have had us play as John Marston from the beginning and not make up this terrible character, Arthur Morgan. It's so stupid. Like, this game just does everything worse than the first Red Dead Redemption game. The graphics are very lackluster. This game looks like it came out of, like, maybe, if I'm being generous, maybe early PS3 at best. It looks like a last gen game. I've seen way better games graphically than this. I mean, I don't know why everybody's, oh, the graphics are so good. No, they're not. Again, put your goddamn glasses on if you think the graphics in this game are good, because they're not. The character models, for a game to pride itself on being so realistic, the character models in this game look very unpolished and unrealistic. The environments have terrible textures. There's no realism with the way that the basically waves move. There's no realism with the way that the clouds look. There's no realism in the way that the leaves blow. It's just, this game just fails. If you're going to try to be realistic, don't half-ass it. Actually try to be realistic. This game cuts so many corners. There's so many bugs and glitches everywhere, where I had this one glitch where my horse was just flying up in the air. I wish I would have recorded it, but just happened to not be recording that day. There was another glitch where I fell through the map. You know, there was one weird glitch through a cutscene where I just basically froze and couldn't move. Like, there was just so many bugs and glitches in this game. How do you spend this much time on this game and produce something this unpolished and this broken? The game was so bad with the glitches, it made it almost unplayable. You know, all the other gameplay that you're doing in this game, hunting animals, is very boring. What else can I think of? Yeah, the gameplay, like I said, is very, there's nothing to do. There's nothing really to buy in this game. Like, all the items that you buy there's no real point to getting money in this game because the gun selection is horrible. I thought there were going to be better weapons unlocked towards the end, and I know people try to use the excuse of, well, it's the Wild West, or there weren't that many guns back there, but they could have still, and this is what I'm talking about, trying to be too realistic. They could have just threw something fun in there, but all the weapons were boring to use. There was never a weapon that I used that I thought was fun. They all felt the same. You know, I hated how your goddamn horse, you had to bond with every one of your horses. You would try to call the horse, and then the horse would be at a whistling range. So you'd have to just try to find another horse. It's like, what the fuck is the point of that? In the first game, couldn't you just call the horse from wherever you were? I hate how when your horse dies, you have to go buy it again. I hate how basically you forget that, like, your weapons are stored on the horse, so if you go into a mission, you won't have the certain guns because you forgot the goddamn guns on the horse, because you have to go up to the horse and take your guns out of the horse's satchel to basically use those guns. They can't just be there because the game wants you to just, oh, it's so fun being able to go up to your horse and just take the weapons out manually. No, it's trash, it's tedious, and it shouldn't be in the game. Video games are supposed to be fun. They're not supposed to be these long, drawn-out cutscene simulators and real-life simulators. If you wanted to play real life, you can just go do real life right now. You dumbasses. But that's pretty much it with the game. Final thoughts, the game is horrible. I felt like a moron for even completing this game. And another thing I wanted to touch on is I find it ridiculous how over and over again Rockstar is allowed to get away with releasing games that aren't fully finished. They keep releasing these games where the multiplayer is not available at launch. You have to wait like a month for it to be available. Why is Rockstar able to get away with that? If this was any other game, I mean, people were bitching about Call of Duty not having the single player in the game. And I know you'll try to use the argument, well, it's going to be in the game, it's just they're adding it later. But still, if this was any other game, you people would be complaining about it. Why is Rockstar able to get away with launching the game without the multiplayer? They did the same thing with GTA 5. I'll probably do like a multiplayer impressions, like I'll rent the game and just to play the multiplayer, because I already sold the game. I was like, get this game the hell out of my house, it's garbage. So I'll probably rent it again to try out the multiplayer, but I know it's going to be trash because the multiplayer in every Rockstar game is trash. GTA 4 multiplayer was horrible. GTA 5 multiplayer was horrible. And I know Red Dead Redemption 2 multiplayer is going to be horrible. The only people that like that are idiots. But final thoughts, this game is a waste of time. Just another overrated piece of trash that only people with bad taste will enjoy. And you are just definitely not a gamer if you think this game is good. If you're one of those idiots running around game of the year, game of the generation, you're just not a gamer. You are not a gamer if you think Red Dead Redemption 2 was a good game. I'm sorry to break it to you, but you should honestly just stop playing games immediately because you're just embarrassing yourself at this point.